Welcome to the model room. Just thought I'd jump on here real quick and give an update on the Model T hot rod build. In the last video, I showed this kit, the 23 Model T hot rod from AMT, and that was the one I chose to build. I kind of like this because normally I don't put fenders on my hot rods, but I like the look of this with the fenders. I thought, okay, this is going to be a good one to build. Substituting an Edelbrock engine, of course, I started the build by gluing the two engine halves together, which I think is probably a law. I think you're required to do that when you start a build. I don't know. In any case, I got the parts out, laid them out to start the chassis, and then I realized that the frame of this model kit is in separate pieces. It's not like a one-piece frame. So you got frame rails, you got cross members, you got springs and all that, which is okay. You know, it's a little more challenging to put together because you got to make sure you get everything straight, lined up properly. You know, just a little extra work to do that. But I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. Here I go. Turns out that the rear cross member that basically holds the whole thing together at the rear is missing in this kit. And I guess I could fabricate one myself. I looked online to see if anyone was selling parts, and there wasn't. And buying another kit just for that one part was not practical. Although I do believe in having two kits when you're building, because things like this happen. You can always, you know, switch from one kit to another. In any case, I looked at this and I thought, all right, I'm going to have to go ahead and do this and work something out with it. I got all the parts here. And just to enlighten myself, I looked online, and Chris over at HPI Guy on YouTube had done this kit 5-6 years ago. It had been reissued after a very long time. And he did a great job. He did mention that he had to, you know, line up the frame rails on his mat so that everything was square and in line, etc. And he did that, and it came out. And then I looked at the finished product. And this thing is really like, it's almost like a 70s type of build. The tires stick out of the fenders, and the body and the fenders ride very high up on the chassis in the old style, like from the 60s and 70s. It's not dropped down at all. Okay, I looked at that and I thought, well, you know, I can work on that because I don't like it high like that anymore. I wanted to be sort of down in the weeds, you know, Irv Arter style. And I was looking at how I could do that, and I thought, I wonder if there's something else that I could do. Could I do a different build? So I went out in the model shed, looked around a little, and I came up with this kit, which, interestingly, this is a 25 Model T, but it's almost the identical kit. Certainly came from the same tool, and it has advantages over the 23. Even though this predated, I think this was tooled up in the 60s. But here you go. So the fender section and the floor are all one piece. In the 23 kit, they're separate pieces, which is, you know, again, it's not a big deal. You can put it together, but it's a little easier having it in one. In addition, this kit has a Z frame, which I really like, and it's going to help to drop that rear end down quite a bit. And I can work on putting the dropping the front end and getting it down a little bit lower. Now, I think the Z frame is going to work with the fender section. I don't think it was necessarily designed to do that, but I think I can make it work. If not, there's motorcycle fenders in the kit, so it can be a fendered build. So I thought, all right, that's great. I think I'll do that, and that way I don't even have to put the frame together, and it will go a lot easier. Now, the engine in this is this Edelbrock V8 that came out of the Curtis Midget Racer kit. And I kind of like the idea of this, to have something that's a little bit different. And I think it's plausible. You know, if there was somebody like in his later years decided to get into hot rodding, but he was a racer many years earlier and had an old midget racer stuck in a shed out in back of his property or something, he might have pulled the engine to drop into the hot rod. It can be done. Of course, this is a race engine. It came with the transmission already attached, which I've now cut off. It's a very small transmission. Generally in the race cars, it would be a 2-speed transmission. So that had to come off, and I decided that I would put the transmission from the 57 Corvette in here. It's small. I did look it up. It's plausible. And so it went on and fit rather nicely. So that's ready to go. I had to put an engine cover on the front. There was a magneto. I cut that off, and I'm going to use a distributor. And then I'm going to put on the pulleys and the belt. It also needs a starter because most of the race cars were push start. And I have to put a alternator on there as well. So I'm going to get started on that. Notice that the Edelbrock engine has headers that sweep up and then go along the side of the body. That's not going to work for me, so I'm going to reverse them and make them go down. Now, the Hot Rod kit itself does not have a real exhaust line with a muffler. It has open headers coming out the side. So I'm going to have to fabricate something to connect to these headers and run along underneath the car as a regular exhaust line. In addition, I found this. I had made this up as a fuel tank for a street rod some time ago. Forgot I had it, but I think maybe I can paint this up and put it on the back in place of the turtle deck that goes on the back. I'm not sure which I'll use, but I kind of feel like I would rather have the fuel tank than the deck. Again, I'm going to see how that goes as I go along with the build. Then I found these. Again, forgot I had them. So here once again are bomber seats, which I really feel like I should make some use of this. And I'm going to try and put this into the body. Now, here's the interior tub for the Roadster. And frankly, I hate this. I don't like this at all. This sort of goofy, tufted look. It just looks like, I don't know, something that came out of the early 70s, and I don't care for it at all. So I think if I put the bomber seats in here with just the bare sides of the interior, this could even be viewed as an all aluminum body or even a fiberglass body. I don't think it needs necessarily to have door cards in there. Again, I can look at this and decide what I want to do at a later date. But as I'm building now, I'm getting ideas for it. Another thing about the 25 kit, it's got a lot of glass options. You know, you can build it as a coupe or a Roadster, and the Roadster has the regular full-size windshield. Can you see this? Or a cut-down windshield. The 23 does not have this option. I would have had to cut the glass down. I'm not sure if this is coming through, but that's a good one. The other thing, though, is I want to know who at round 2 decided that a good option for alternative glass would be lavender. Really? Who's going to use this? I don't know. The kit came with these pie crust slicks, and I kind of surprised myself. I like them. I wanted to do something like this, put a slick or something on this build. And even though I normally don't go for a little white wall like this, I think it looks pretty cool, and I think it would look good on this build, so I'm going with this. I pulled these wheels out of the Myers-Manx kit. I don't know, for some reason I kind of like them. They're very plain, but they sort of fit with that little white wall. So I think I'm going to use them. And I did scuff up the tread here on all 4 tires. I think I'm going to leave them just as slicks and not cheater slicks. I don't know. It looks fine to me, and I think I'll go with it this way. Here's something worth noting in the Curtis Racer kit. Here are the chrome parts, and they're very nice. There's 3 frets. The chrome is real good, nice and shiny as it should be, not real thin. But at the same time, here's 2 other frets that are just silver. They're not shiny, they're not chrome. These are wheels, steering wheel, engine parts. They shouldn't be chrome. So Revell took the time to make a difference between these 2 types of parts, and I think that was pretty good. They also, in that kit, included a small fret of photo etch parts. So, yeah, you get some value in that kit. I got some quick color on some of the parts here just to show you. Here's the fender assembly. I did the bottom in a semi-gloss black. Didn't do the top because I want that to be gloss, so I'm holding that off. The quick change rear and the torque tubes, they're coming out just fine. That's ready to go in. Here is the engine. It's basically just tacked up so far, but I've got some pieces on here. I have to add a brace or something to that alternator so it's not just hanging out in space. I did the block in gunmetal and silver on the transmission. The silver is very interesting because what I used was this Testors chrome. They call it chrome, but down here they call it silver. And it comes out as a really nice shiny silver. It's certainly not a chrome like, say, the Revell chrome, but this is very good. And I think that it looks great on that transmission. It was very easy to do. So that was fine. Here are the Stromberg carburetors from the kit, and they're very nice, really. They've got some pretty decent detail. The ones in the 23T kit also have some good detail, but I just decided I wanted something that's a little bit better, so I ordered a set from Iceman Collections. That's not here yet. I'll show it to you when it comes in. And I'm going to have dark blue wires. The body will be light blue, and fenders will be black. I'm going to have dark blue plug wires. I have to drill out the engine cylinder heads. Again, they have a very small hole, but I want to put boots on, so I got to make that a little bit bigger. These are going to come off. They're just tacked on. Now, I did want to get some of the suspension onto the frame, and I painted that up. I did try and fit it into the fender assembly, and I think that, again, it's going to ride very high. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with that. Where do I want to cut it up and try and get things lower? Very difficult to lower this front suspension the way it's set up and the way it attaches, but the Z frame does help a little bit on the rear. And then I remembered something that I'd had. Here it is over here. I'd had from many years ago, long time ago. I was working actually on this kit, and I started to make up my own Z frame, and I also raised up the suspension mount on the front. So if you can see this now, it's got, oh, this is another one that I was working on, but I went to more extremes with this. Here's the kit suspension, and you can see now that the Z is much more dramatic, and the front mount on the engine is also a bit higher. I'm thinking that that's going to help it settle down under those fenders. So instead of putting this together, I'm going to be away. When you see this, I'll be away, going down the shore for a week or so. When I come back, I'm going to start working on this to see how I can massage this frame into that fender assembly and get it to settle down real good. So in the meantime, that's it. I will see you back. I'll be working on a video when I'm away, so there'll be another one coming in another week or so. In the meantime, have a good summer, and I'll see you soon.